Mm.
All right, well, welcome everybody, and thank you for coming to the August Instructor Gathering. Excited to see everybody's smiling faces yet again. So we have certainly a lot to cover today. So we will go ahead and jump right in to that. All right, so we're going to go over some of the project updates, what's going on, the upcoming events that we have, highlight some of those changes for Project 3. I did send out an instructor survey, and I do want to go over those results with everybody so you guys can see what the feedback was from the instructor survey. And then Jessica, Jessica, if you want to give us a wave, one of our wonderful coordinators is going to be teaching us and giving us some great tips and tricks on marketing initiatives for us as instructors. So definitely want to leave plenty of time to do that. And then we are going to celebrate one another. And then, as always, leave time for some question and answer. But before we get started, does anybody have any questions right now? Before we get started?
No, I don't.
All right. All right. Then with that, we will get started. All right. Lucas, do you want to go over these few our project updates here, some of the data?
Yeah, sure. So we are in our SAMHSA. We have two projects that are currently going right now among that's like our main bunch, and we also have some other contracts that are going as well. But so the two that you're seeing on the screen are the main ones. So to the left, we just started our OMOS project, and then in July we trained a total of 324 people. And for the OMOS funding, we've trained a total of 15,500 Ohioans so far, which is awesome to see. And you can see the other stats that are with the OMOS classes as well. So really exciting stuff. We're off to a really good start for that project. And then SAMHSA, we're 10 out of the 12 months for that project. We've already met our goal. So things are going well. The numbers are looking really good. And that's all thanks to everyone and everyone's hard work.
Thank you very much. And again, I will send out, although I did send out the this slide deck once yesterday, just as it was like a little surprise, little teaser for everybody, possibly a mistake on my part, but nonetheless, you will get the completed deck today when the meeting is over, and it does have today's slide deck will have these this data on it for you. So, all right, so couple things about upcoming events, and actually the most exciting one, of course, is our annual summit. So Stacy, if you want to add a few notes about our summit that's coming up. If you want to
just a couple of things to keep in mind is that the 11th is the deadline to register to also get in your nominations, and I'll throw all the links in as well here in a moment. And also, if you're wanting a mileage check to help kind of defray the cost, to fill out the form to get the $50 mileage check, those are all due. The deadline is the 11th. So please keep that in mind. And that's this Friday. So you've only got a couple of days. We're really excited because we are right at 100 people registered, which is quite a jump from last year. So we're looking forward to that. We've got some really cool stuff this year. I'm excited about the discussion tables because we've got, I think, 11 discussion tables for the afternoon that are going to hit on a lot of the different communities we serve as instructors that are going to help meet those needs of those communities even more. And you're all going to get an opportunity to connect with 5 of those different tables that afternoon, but also the teen mental health first aid component and hearing from National that day. I mean, we're really excited kind of about the program that we will give the mileage checks at the summit. You just have to fill out the form before this Friday. I think that pretty much covers it, unless Janet wants to add anything else.
No, I think that the registration and the deadline to register is next Friday, on the 18th, and it's
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing for the nominations to nominate each other for awards is this Friday, and then we figured we're going to decide Thursday, let people know who won, And so they can kind of prepare their little speeches, because I think that was my favorite part of the summit last year, is to hear all you guys talk about like why you do this and why you're so good at it. And so I think that gives them one day to sign up for the 18th. Is that right, Stacy?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. So again, that is Friday, September 8th. So hopefully everybody's going to be able to make that. Again, 10 to 3 at the Columbus Zoo. Certainly had a wonderful venue and location for that last year, and we're excited to be able to do that again this year. Some additional things coming up. Our next lunch and learn that we have coming up, or virtual Wellness Wednesday, as we also call them, is going to be November 8th, and those are from 12 to 1. Of course, there will be a link that comes out to that, but we have some exciting speakers coming in for that, and actually they're going to talk about kind of how to deliver MHFA in faith communities. And actually one of those presenters is going to be Helen Lorraine Ray, which is here with us today. Helen, if you want to give a little wave to us. She is a mental health coach and minister, amongst many other things. She has there's a wonderful podcast out there too, you can Google and find from her as well. But she's going to be enlightening us on that day. And then also Pastor Shane Floyd from Grace AME Church and Congregation. They've actually led 4 mental health first aid training since March within their congregation, as well as starting a mental health safe space within Warren, Ohio. So they're going to share some of that experience, again, kind of merging those two worlds together, and how they've collaborated both of those pieces. So it'll be really exciting to learn from them. And again, for those of you that have not yet attended one of these lunch and learns, these are open to not only us as instructors, but also to all first aiders, and then any community member, any host organization. They're really open to anybody, which is kind of a great opportunity to get to network and to get to keep those first aid learners engaged. So we do want to promote these. When you're doing your classes, make sure you're letting people know about these lunch and learns and the links that they're going to receive throughout the newsletters. Let them know that these are coming, because we do want to keep people engaged and keep them up on, as much latest information as we learn. We want to share it with them also. And then our next instructor gathering, which is again the quarterly instructor gatherings, which is what we're doing today. The next one, just if you want to pencil it in, is going to be Wednesday, November 15th from 12 to 1:30. So again, just so you can have that saved. Any questions right now? No. All right, moving right along then. All right. So just to highlight some of those changes from as we're moving into project 3. One of the biggest changes, of course, is that Connect Team is gone. And for those of you that some of you might be sad, some of you might be happy. But regardless, here we are. One of the functions that we used Connect Team for was to share updates with you. So I want to show you just very quickly how we're going to be doing that now. And some of you may have already kind of stumbled across this, but on the Trello board is now a project updates tab. So right here in the center, project updates, we're going to be using this the same way that we used it, the same way we used Connect Team, where we shared posts. You just scroll down through, they're here. You're going to get an alert because you'll get a notification that we've posted that update. You'll get an email saying an update's been made to the Trello board. And you can look here to see what has been updated. Likewise, some of the other changes, one of the other functions that Connect Team offered us was the ability for us as instructors to chat with one another. I know many of you use that function. So we've created this, basically it's a chat room, if you will, on the Trello board. Use this the same way as you would a chat board. You can open it up. And this gives you the directions on how to do that. Basically, put in your message, and so long as you use the @ symbol and type in board, it's going to go to everybody. So your message will be, the alert notification will be sent out to everybody. If you want to just send it to one person, you can just put @ and then their email or their name. But that's really how this works. And you can have dialogue going. Not an issue with that. So that's a nice function that we're not losing. It's just in a little bit of, it's just in a different place now. Any questions on those two? No. All right. So going back then to our changes, we've got then our Bravos. So this was one of the things that actually was shared with us as a recommendation from the Instructor Gathering, or from the, from the Instructor Survey, and certainly something that Janet has always been a proponent of, is how do we acknowledge the great work that's being done by all of you, by the instructors. So again, some of you may have, there's going to be a couple different things with these Bravos. One in particular, though, is the addition to the Trello board, where we are going to have the opportunity as instructors and coordinators, you can give a shout out to one another. If you did a training with somebody and something went really well, be it small, be it big, be it somewhere in between, it doesn't matter. There's no qualifiers here. You just want to send that kudos to somebody. All you need to do is you hit add a card, you copy this, add a card if you want to, and then Janet even gave the example of, I, Janet Gora, nominate Keith Klein because he took over teaching a class with 1 day's notice and saved the day. What's really nice about this is that each instructor gathering, then when all of us get back together again in November, we are going to spin the wheel. We have a virtual wheel where everybody's name will go on that, who has been given accolades and bravos for that month. We're going to spin that wheel, and whoever it lands on is going to get a $50 gift card. And actually, I should step back a minute, because what we're going to do actually before that is we're going to offer up a teaching supplement. So one of those community specific curriculum supplements, we're going to offer that up at no cost. Now, if you are already certified in those and you don't need it, then you get the gift card. So I stand a little corrected on that. So we do want to, again, we know that there's a lot of great work happening out there, and we just want to make sure that there's an opportunity to highlight that, and that everybody's getting that light shined on them as the opportunity arises. So any questions on that process?
Bridget, is that just instructors nominating instructors, or is that what we're going to focus on, or is it the project team nominating, who exactly should be nominating?
I think it can be anybody. I think it can be for coordinators to coordinators. I think it can be project team members to instructors. I think it can be instructors about coordinators, any of the project team members. Again, we've got Lucas, who works behind the scenes, that keeps us all financially, keeps us all in check and makes sure that all those invoices that get sent to me with my name on it as an instructor from National get paid. So he might be seeing one from me, because I appreciate that. So, I think we're all kind of in this together. So my vote is, I say it goes to everybody. I think we open it up for everybody. But Janet, any thoughts on that? You're the leader.
No,
so go to you.
no, I think I agree. I just wanted to make sure, because I wasn't sure when I wrote that. I'm like, I wonder. So I thought,
yeah.
No, that sounds great.
Yeah, we'll try and make it so that it's not the project team getting the cards every time, because that might look a little bit suspicious. Yeah. But I do think it's worth including in that. So
okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? All right. All right. So going back to our changes, then, Ruth, thank you for that. All right, so one of the other changes, of course, is the terminology that we're using. What used to be referred to as the master program, the master instructor program, is being changed and adjusted a bit to become now the mentor instructor program. And certainly we talked about this quite a bit at our last instructor gathering. But I do want to let you know that all of the current those existing master instructors, we all had the opportunity to meet in June, the end of June. And we looked at our numbers based on our need, based on the number of instructors that still need mentored, if you will. And at this point, we have the number that we need. So at this point, we don't need any additional mentors. However, we do know that in January, we will be adding, starting in January, we will be adding 20 new instructors. So not all at once, but over this next year and a half. So all that to say, stay tuned. And how this is going to work is basically we will be inviting instructors to apply to become mentor instructors. And the rubric for the mentor instructor program, as well as the application, is on the Trello board. If you're ever kind of curious as to what we're looking for and what that program looks like, it is posted on the Trello board. Any questions on that change? All right. So one of the other changes, of course, and this is related to Connect Team being gone, is the way we schedule classes for adult classes. Youth, of course, remain the same. That process is unchanged. For adult classes, though, we're using the new scheduling board. And I do want to share with you just some information. This is essentially what the user board what the scheduling board looks like. We currently have 46 people. Actually, I think as of today, I think there's 47 instructors and coordinators that have joined this board. So we know we currently have, and just to give you an idea, we have 70, I think we're at 78 people who've signed a contract for this project. We have 46 people who are using the scheduling board. Now, some of those people, there might be some disconnect because some folks are straight youth instructors, so that makes sense. But there's a chance there's still some folks who've not gotten into the scheduling board. And if you haven't, here's the link to do so. And again, I'm going to send out this PowerPoint presentation so you can use that link from there also. I do want to share with you, though, as well, just in the before I open it up to questions and feedback, I do want to share with you, that was one of the questions on the survey, is how is it going? Have you gotten into the new scheduling board? And we had 35 people respond to the instructor survey. And at that time, 21 people had said they had joined the scheduling board. So we had 60% of those folks had said they had, and still 14 had not. It was receiving a 3.5 star rating on the rating system. So in terms of how it's going. So let me open it up to you guys and just kind of share what is your feedback? Because obviously, we know we've got a new program here. We've got a new approach to doing the scheduling. How is it going? Suggestions, questions, kind of turn it over to you guys.
Bridget, do you mind
Yes.
if I jump in?
Yes. Yep.
Compared to Connect, it is hands down far better. For one
Okay.
thing, easier for older eyes to see because I can pull it up on a big screen. But also it's very clear. You get to see what the location is, what the hours are, what the configuration of the curriculum is that's being requested. So to me, and I'm a Trello user anyway, so for me, this is 1,000% better.
Okay, good. Good. All right. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. Yeah, anybody else? And it doesn't all have to be good. We like the positive reviews. Certainly, we didn't even pay her to say any of that. But but we also wanted to hear if there's struggles with it too. If anybody's having any issues logging in.
Hi, Bridget. This is Ella. I was looking over this on Friday, and I feel like I'm always the last one in the room to get things. But I thought it was easy. Once you go through it and look, and I had to go back, I was like, what are these color bars for? But then it is explained in the beginning. So I had to go back and look, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what this means. And I do like the fact it says who they're looking for, the location, and you can see how many people have offered to be part of that teaching session.
Yeah.
So you'll know where you fall at in line. Are you first? Are you the 40th? The 40th person. So I thought it was very friendly.
Yeah. All right. Good. Thank you for the feedback. And Robin, thank you for the feedback as well. I am more than happy to meet with you too, Robin, and kind of walk through it with you, because I know it is you know, it's a new process. So, it's always a little bit, you know, it's just kind of takes some getting used to. So Robin, I will make a note to follow up with you, as well with that. Let me. But
And
if I
Ella,
don't forget.
I'm right with you as far as being the last in the room, because I'm not really, I haven't really seen or been able to get on and do a lot of this as, and I will need to get on and try to work on this. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sort of, I feel like, you know, I have a disconnect, but it's because of my other work and that, you know, so.
Yeah, and that's certainly understandable. I will tell you, there is a great video on the Trello board, and let me go ahead and pull this up for you. If you need just a quick refresher on how to use the scheduling board, if you go, let me see if I can find it in a hurry. Actually, I think if you go to project updates, excuse me. So with the little green board here, go to under project updates. And Robin, this kind of answers your question too, in terms of getting in the habit of checking it. There is a way to set your alerts. You should be getting an email that says, you know, Michelle Rofe made an update to the Trello board, to the scheduling Trello board. You should be getting an email that says that. If you're not, there's in the video here, it will show you and kind of talk about changing your alerts so that you're getting those notifications, because you're absolutely right. Like, I wouldn't be somebody that I wouldn't just instinctively think, oh, I need to hop in there and check the dates and see if something new has been posted. I need those email reminders constantly kind of telling me, okay, something's been posted, something's been posted. But there's ways you can modify those too. You can get notified periodically, you can get notified every time something's changed, or you can turn notifications off altogether. So it's whatever works best for you. But again, there is a nice video here, and then the link to join the scheduling board is here. So hopefully that will help too. But then I'm always certainly happy to help also. Any other questions or thoughts on that? All right. Yeah. And again, you know, we're always looking for feedback. You know, I know some of the feedback that we received in years past on the instructor surveys is the request to be able to see classes farther out. This has accomplished that. You know, again, there's no guarantee that yeah, we're putting a class out 2 months from now. We can't guarantee that at the last minute it's not going to get canceled, you know, or that whatever, you know, 3 weeks out, they're going to not have capacity for it, or whatever's going to happen. But we heard your feedback that said, we want to see things sooner. You know, we want to see things further out. So this has been able to provide that, which has been nice. You know,
Bridget,
yeah.
I have a thought that I wanted to add.
Yeah.
On that Trello board, it you know, everybody says they're available, and then it has a date that you have to respond by, which seems a ways out from when it's posted. And so this is just me. It would be helpful to have maybe more notice, because I usually, if I say, okay, I'm available on this date, I'll make a tentative in case I get chosen to teach the class. But then if I get notified 2 weeks ahead of time, that kind of has blocked out that day if I don't get chosen. Do you know what I'm saying? Is there a way to maybe not give 3 or 4 weeks for people to respond, but maybe a week or something a little bit shorter, so we have more notice if we're not chosen, I guess?
Well,
I don't know if others feel that way or not. That's just me.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. You know, I think it's the trade-off with having classes posted farther out. You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of the trade. I think that's why in the past we haven't gone further out. So it's that's been the trade-off then. You know, how long do we ask people to keep their schedules clear? But I do think, Terry, I think, you know, I certainly understand it. And it's something we can kind of talk about then and see if there's maybe a better way we can, you know, if there's an option to do that. Janet, what would you add?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And that, like Bridget said, that's a balance. But what we have changed to is that if your class is fully full, which is to us 30 people, then it's a go. And we can post that as a tentative, take off the tentative label and put on the unfilled label as early as that class is posted. But some of those classes, if you're a coordinator and you look at the registrations coming in, you might have 5 people and you're like, well, the odds are sometimes the hosts come through and they had 20 people at the last minute and you're like, okay, hallelujah, we're going to have it. But sometimes they don't and we have to cancel it. So the day that registration closes is the 2 weeks before, is the day that the host is supposed to have a full class. And if it's kind of gray area and we're not quite sure, that's why we have that tentative tag on there. But we have changed it. Like if you know a month out and you already have the roster from the host and there's 30 people on there, like this is definitely a go, then you'll see that label change from tentative to unfilled, and then you'll know it's definitely a go. So that's kind of where we tried to, as soon as we know the class is going on, we'll change that label from tentative to go, and then you know. Does that help, Terry?
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd say most classes you kind of are waiting to see, because people wait till the last minute to register, and then you're like, thank the Lord, there's 27 people in that class. So it is kind of a wait and see. But as soon as it's full, then we'll post it as a unfilled class that you guys can bid on officially.
Yeah. And I will say, Robin, to your question, if anybody, because this might apply to other people too, if you did not receive the link directly to your Outlook calendar today for today's meeting, it may be because, and I can't remember who has signed and who hasn't, it may be because you have not yet signed the new MOA that started in July, because I only sent the link I only did the calendar link to those folks who signed the current MOA. Because that's the only people who are required to come. Otherwise, I just posted on the Trello board. So I'm wondering that may be the issue. Or it could be that I don't have the correct, I might have to double check my email then. Okay, so you did on the first day. I'll double check the email that I have written down for that. Or if you want to put it in here in chat box. Because I'm wondering, because you should have gotten that. I'd sent that to everybody that had signed it, but I know there's some other folks too. I'm going to take a quick picture just because that way I don't misspell it. All right, thank you. All right, yeah, my apologies for that. All right, so any other questions or suggestions for the Trello board? No. All right. Okay. All right, so one of the other pieces that we asked in the instructor survey is, what were some recent wins that you've had? And I do want to go over, let me go back here. I do want to go over some of those that we have and celebrate those. Oh, I keep moving forward. Sorry, I'm trying to move the pictures out of the way because the pictures are all in the way. I'm just going to have to leave them there. Okay. All right. So again, we had 35 people that responded. And some of them, I won't go through all these, but I do want to highlight some of these. We had some instructors that were coming back and resuming teaching after 2 years. There were some new referrals coming in, new connections that had been recently being made, dual certification. This was exciting. 3 businesses that have now built their own capacity for MHFA trainers since beginning working with them through Cardinal Health, Honda of America, and I apologize, my picture's covering the other one, Nutrien. There we go. So that's really exciting. Again, positive feedback from not only learners, but also from the, from the positive impact that it's having on their families and friends as well. Some additional victories and celebrations that we have. People are feeling more comfortable with the curriculum changes. Some people, they had just taught their first class, and that was, kind of overcoming those first nerves, as we all remember that feeling. So very excited for that. Some people learned some new tips and tricks from fellow instructors like candy that Ruth had suggested to somebody. So thank you, Ruth, for the candy tip. Feeling empowered and supportive, being grateful to be able to teach vulnerable, culturally diverse groups, leading rich discussions, growing in confidence. has become a certified peer specialist, family pet specialist, because another instructor told them about the program. So again, a lot of great stuff is happening, you know, for you guys as instructors, and we certainly applaud you, you know, for all of these, and are so grateful, and celebrate with you, I should say. All right, so as I mentioned, so some of the other results then from the instructor survey. Again, we had 35 folks respond. Of those 35, 22 folks said they were satisfied with the number of classes that they were currently teaching. 13 said they were not satisfied with the number of classes that they were currently teaching. Some of that was cited, the majority was cited to geographical location. You know, we've shifted from a lot of virtual classes to now in person. So just geographically, it just wasn't working out. Although somebody did kind of see that as an opportunity to grow, then kind of that call to action to refer more classes in their own community, kind of pull in more classes. The new pay structure was a barrier for some in terms of not necessarily being able to, not intending to teach moving forward as many classes as they would like. The number of instructors is a barrier. Again, just the number of classes to the number of instructors was an identified barrier. And then again, the own schedule was another one identified. All right. Here are some suggestions, which again, I won't go over all of these, but I do want to just highlight, and again, everybody will have, you guys will have these, but I do think we had some great suggestions in here and very much appreciated. Again, as much planning ahead as possible for classes, which that's hopefully reflected in the scheduling board. And Terry, I think with your suggestion, we're going to try to keep fine tuning that process even more. For classes that are referred by instructor, continue to look at who's involved in that decision making process, you know, the decision making process of when is the class held, when are lunch breaks, etc. Who is making who is having that conversation with the host about lunch times, about technology, about, you know, technology needs for the day, about material needs for the day, what door am I supposed to go to, and who's opening the door when I'm supposed to get there in the morning. All those logistics, kind of hashing out, you know, who's supposed to be doing that, the coordinator or the instructor. So kind of we're going to continue, more to come on that, I will tell you, on streamlining some of that process as well. Here we've got, again, supporting learners having issues with pre and post work. I did update today, just so you're aware, on the Trello board, another troubleshooting guide for good old Connect. If you haven't had the opportunity to look at this yet, let me pull this up. So under Get Help, the Get Help category, if you scroll down to Troubleshooting MHFA Connect, the two most common issues that come up when we're doing Connect, when we're using Connect, is the learner can't log in, or you get the error message that says user already exists. So here's some cheat sheets. Here's some troubleshooting sheets for you, if you will, that have just been recently added. So feel free to take a look at those. You know, because again, I do think, I mean, that's where, you know, I spend a lot of my time too. So I'm right there with you in terms of those challenges. But just so you know that those are on there. All right, so those, and again, other ones are up here. Are there anything that you guys would want to add right now? Any other suggestions before we move on? Make info, I do want to point it to, again, make info more accessible and in one place. Hopefully, Connect Team is gone now. Everything's on Trello. You know, we've got everything on Trello. Now there's the Trello instructor support board, and then there's the Trello scheduling board, but they're all essentially still Trello. So we're getting there. We're moving in that direction. Of course, we can't do anything about Connect, you know, not having everything all in one place because we don't own that, but hopefully you're finding that a little more supportive of a process now. One of the next questions we asked is the level of engagement. How engaged do you feel you are as an instructor? 1 meant it was you were rating yourself. 1 meant little to no engagement. 5 meant you were attending all the meetings, you were reading the majority of the updates, regularly teaching, remaining current with curriculum changes as they came out. And the results were, drum roll please, the majority of folks rated themselves at a 4. So, you know, moderately to mostly engaged, which is great to see, and certainly excited to hear that. 25 or 31% of those, or 11 of 35 said they rated themselves at a 4. So 31%. The reasons for not being higher, or those reasons for being on the lower end, were really all kind of summarized, all kind of came down to personal availability and schedule. Would have been more engaged, have, you know, if their schedule permits. So, you know, that's not terribly surprising news, because I think that's the reality of the project. You know, everybody's working, and this is not their primary responsibility, so we understand that and see that. But again, we want to continue to do everything we can to help support you, so that you can continue to teach, though, and knowing that you have to juggle your other full-time jobs and other responsibilities too. And many classes on Fridays specifically was noted. So we are going to, again, take note of that. I believe there is a class. Stacy, correct me if I'm wrong, but are you putting an open class on a Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday, September 16th.
Thank you. Because I know from past instructor surveys, one of the requests was to have more weekend classes. So I know I have seen more Saturday classes come through in this past year. So I knew we had an open class coming up too. So hopefully some more variability with those days. But thank you for your feedback on that. Again, as I mentioned, we're seeing this number just even since I sent out that survey. We are getting additional MOAs being signed. Just remember, you got to sign the contract in order to keep teaching. So if you're bidding on a class, just know that the contract or the coordinator is probably going to say, hey, don't forget to sign that contract, because any contract you've signed up until now is no longer valid. You know, it's out of date. So just so you're aware. But thank you to all of you for signing that new one and for coming back. We're certainly grateful to have you here and your dedication. And Rich, thank you. I will get that updated. All right. So one of the other questions we asked, of course, is how can we show appreciation? Again, we want to continue to highlight the great work that's being done on here, because we know there's a lot being done. So we want to ask you guys, what's your love language, so to speak, or what is it? How are those ways that you receive appreciation, and how would you, you know, what would that look like for you? Of course, I do want to just throw out that quick little reminder that Friday is the nomination, the due date for nomination for peers. So we can nominate one another for Adult Instructor of the Year, Youth Instructor of the Year, Rookie of the Year, so New Instructor of the Year, Host Site of the Year. Folks will receive their awards at the summit. And the link, of course, is, I believe Stacy put in the chat box, and it's in this slide deck also. But we do want to celebrate one another in that way.
Bridget,
Yeah.
I just got a text. The people can't get into the gathering. I have been waiting a while now. I don't know who that is, but they just texted me. So is there anybody in the waiting room?
I don't see anybody in the waiting room. I'm wondering if, sorry, Kathy.
Or maybe there's a limit to you remember we ran into that problem before, but anyhow, I just got a text. Is that Kathy?
Oh, I think it might have been Kathy. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know.
I got it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Let me, all right. So one of the ways then that were identified, professional development tools, branded swag got 8 votes, monthly Bravos got 7 votes. So we are going to be incorporating that. And then branded t-shirt or polo, something you can wear to a training, certificate of appreciation, opportunity to share tips and tricks, so just a format, and then gift cards. So just so you can kind of see where that where that lies, and we are taking note of all of these. All right. So any questions or anything else you would add to that? No. All right. All right. So we're next. I'm going to turn it over then to our wonderful Jessica Wright. And for those of you that have not worked with Jessica yet, she is one of our coordinators. And she is focused in the faith-based, first responders, rural minorities, LGBTQ, older adults, lower socioeconomic, peer support worker, and disability communities. And she is going to share with us some marketing strategies today. So Jessica, if you want to take it from here.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Again, my name's Jessica. Yes, I'm the adult OMAS mental health first aid project coordinator for the following groups in the slide. If I haven't worked with you already, I'm looking forward to working with you. Today, we're going to talk about a concept called social marketing. You can do it. Should I? Yeah, there we go. So the title is What's in It for Me? Today, we're going to define social marketing and the use of its increasing popularity in marketing discourse, specifically in the mental health first aid arena. We'll focus today on the potential host needs and the behavioral change of organizations, utilizing buzzwords to assess the needs for training. We'll also build on the scope of social marketing in the modern marketplace, creating a conversation in the moment. So we'll go to our next slide. It's a pop quiz, if you will. What is social marketing? So I have 3 things for you today. You can throw A, B, or C up in the chat. So social marketing could be A, a collective term for websites, B, a relay race, or C, the influencing of positive actions. So you can place that in the chat, what you think that is. All right, see our responses. We'll give about 10, 15 more seconds. It's looking good, very good. Nice, very good. Nice. All right. We'll go to our next slide. A lot of you all were correct in picking C. A is actually the definition of social media marketing, which is not to be confused with social marketing. It's alike, but it's different. So a lot of you were correct. Social marketing is the application of marketing principles and techniques to foster social improvement or change by influencing positive actions. So social marketing really has evolved into an identified subgroup that focuses on social issues along with public policy and marketing ethics. We consider how insights generated from the work act as competitive analysis or the competition of attitudes, behavior, and practices, all that impact social good. So examples of this would be Michelle Obama's fitness campaign. I saw a video the other day of her locking in and dropping it on stage, getting people more active, getting outside. Also, take it back a little further, a couple of decades ago, the World Hunger Campaign. Both of those are great examples of what we're talking about today as far as social marketing. As a mental health first aid organization, we're all seekers of more effective and efficient ways to reduce the stigma of mental health by influencing change at a large-scale public health and social welfare programs, all by using mental health first aid trainings. So we'll go to our next slide here. So talk a little bit about KPIs or key performance indicators. So our first KPI shows that 44% of individuals implementing social marketing are learning from new technologies to enhance social innovation and design thinking. Our second KPI indicates we have 54% of the target audience change their knowledge objectives, which is their statistics and facts, from their belief objectives, which is attitudes, opinions, and values, based on the use of social marketing. So changing your mindset, if you will. The third KPI shows that there's been a 77% increase in the effective use of social marketing to change and influence health behaviors. That's a little data for you today. Next slide. So why social marketing? So let's get in the meat of this. Well, first, it facilitates value for individuals and sponsoring organizations to achieve their objectives. We can start by discussing the importance of mental health and its impact on individuals and communities. We can also talk about how mental health affects overall well-being, productivity, and relationships. Second, the use of social marketing integrates evidence-based practices into networking conversations. So we can mention the benefits of mental health first aid training, such as recognizing early signs of mental health issues, providing initial support, and connecting individuals to the appropriate resources. We've heard before, we can also emphasize that mental health first aid is like CPR for the mind, teaching people how to assist someone experiencing a mental health crisis. So third, we want to use insights from our target audience to create effective engagement. Mental health first aid collab instructor board on Trello is a phenomenal resource to collect information and data about the success for our trainings. Also, if you need any data, you can reach out to one of us, me specifically, and Lucas is the data man. However, we can get you anything you need as far as presenting this to someone. So fourth, social marketing designs efficient, sustainable, and equitable approaches to enhance the benefit of a mental health first aid training to a potential host. So you can share your passion for mental health and explain why you become a certified mental health instructor. You can briefly talk about your motivation behind pursuing this certification, whether it's your personal experience, a desire to help others, or a combination of those factors. And then fifth, social marketing will facilitate a scalable change among individuals, organizations, and communities. You can offer to share information or resources on the topic if they're interested. You can provide links to online materials like our QR code. I'm going to throw this up in the chat after this presentation. We'll also have it on our Trello support board as well. Or you can even invite them to one of your trainings, which is what I would recommend, if possible. All right, our next slide. So this slide's just a bit wordy, but I wanted to make sure that I had all the meat and potatoes, if you will, as far as what to say when or what to look for as far as a conversation starter. So here are some examples of the conversation starters you can use. So number one, our specially designed mental health first aid course is aimed at helping individuals identify mental health challenges and provide strategies for assisting people having a mental health challenge or crisis until they can receive help. It's a great way to say that. The training courses are all evidence-based and conducted by professionals in mental health first aid. You can improve the overall well-being of the company because people will know how to recognize and assist someone with a mental health crisis or challenge. Companies are now investing, well, not now, they always have been. However, it's trending to invest in workplace health and safety policies. This is primarily because they're quickly recognizing the significance of safety policies that promote and engage employees while also ensuring occupational well-being. Another one, when you train your organization in mental health first aid, you're in a way assuring others about their health and safety. They'll feel secure knowing someone in the organization will be able to recognize these signs as and when they are developing. Keep in mind, these are all starter conversations that take 30 seconds or less time than it does to go from the first to the third floor in the elevator. Next slide, cool. So starting small conversations. So how to bring up your mental health first aid facilitator services in a conversation and what buzzwords to listen from the person you're talking to. So you can start by, one, discussing the importance of mental health and its impact on individuals and communities. If the person mentions employee assistance programs, EAP, a buzzword, you can ask the person that you're talking to if they've ever heard of mental health first aid. If the person says, we've been looking for mental health awareness initiatives, another buzzword, then you can share your passion for mental health and how you become a certified mental health first aid instructor. If the person responds with, we would like to reduce the stigma around mental health, another buzzword or phrase rather, you can mention the benefits of mental health first aid training, such as recognizing early signs of mental health issues and providing support. If the person responds with, how do I find out about this training? Or I'm interested in mental health trainings, then you can offer to share more information or resources on the topic. Additional buzzwords to listen for would be statements in the moment about reducing stress management, better ways for community support, and an interest in work-life balance. So our next slide here. We good? Oh, there we go. All right, so no, really, what's in it for me? You know, as humanitarian, we're still human.
Simon Sinek, he's a motivational TED Talk speaker. I watch a lot of TED Talks. He talks about people don't necessarily buy into what you do, they buy into why you do it. When someone asks what you do, you can tell them why you do it in addition to what you do. And using the suggestions provided in these slides is a great way to open the door for a potential host to step in. Being comfortable speaking about mental health first aid and networking opportunities will increase your public speaking skills, along with solidifying future trainings with Mental Health First Aid Collab. Once a person indicates they want to be a host, you can refer them to our host referral form that you can reference on our instructor support board in Trello. I will also be placing this in the chat. Your project team from Mental Health First Aid Collab will then assist you by facilitating the outreach, will create the class materials, develop marketing initiatives to recruit participants, and continue coordination for the course. This presentation will also fully be on the instructor board for you to refer to. Keep in mind, we do continue to solicit feedback from instructors, especially from coordinators who aren't instructors or haven't trained to be constructors, to see your point of view. So I encourage that, and special shout out to everyone who completed the survey. It's very important. But these are all points to talk about in the moment as far as what mental health first aid is, who you are as an instructor, and why you became certified as a mental health first aid instructor. So at the end of each conversation, you want to make sure, one, you reference back to Mental Health First Aid Collab, and then we could give them the QR code or the link. So moving forward, after today, not only Mental Health First Aid Collab, we could also be known as Team ABC, or Always Be Closing. That's it. Thank you.
Hey, wonderful. Thank you so much, Jessica. That was very helpful, because I think that we are all, we have not only met all of our goals, each project, but we have exceeded them significantly. And so much of that has come from the referrals that have come from instructors themselves, from these host referral classes. And
Definitely.
That's why, what's in it for me? You want to teach more classes? 13, again, we look at those, if you want to teach more classes, this is one way to do it, is to bring those classes in. These are some great tips and strategies on how to have those conversations, get that little elevator speech, kind of fine-tuned a little bit. But I appreciate so much what you said about the, sharing your why behind what you do. And I know Janet certainly echoes that as well. Good, Janet.
Yeah, I do. And I just want to tell you guys, I have seen Jessica do this in live person. Like a lot of the stuff that you don't see that we do, we meet a ton with potential host organizations, and we have these, what we call outreach meetings. And Jessica just connects with people so quickly that, like I said, I have seen her put this in practice, and she does a really good job. So this works. I'm taking notes like crazy, going like, okay, my next outreach meeting, I'm going to be better prepared and say this and listen for buzzwords. So thank you, Jessica, for doing this.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much. Any questions for Jessica on kind of marketing strategies or different things you can do as an instructor to reach out?
Hi, Jessica. It's Pat McCaslin. Lorraine County. I want to check with you. Do you have like a set program that could be like 45 minutes, an hour that we can do to get more interest? I know at our college we have upcoming kind of like at the beginning of the semester and the year, and they want me to do something, and I can do it, but if it already exists, I'd rather not reinvent the wheel.
I haven't, specifically for us, I haven't found necessarily something like this, but we can definitely develop anything that you need.
Yeah, we have a lot of calls to do like 15-minute things, Pat, like virtual meetings with people, and we talk about what's mental health first aid and how do you qualify and that kind of stuff. But I don't think we have something that long. So you might need to tell us a little bit more about what you want to put in there, because it's not uncommon that we are asked to go to different places and talk about it for longer, but we just haven't come up with that yet. So let us know what you need.
Thanks. All right, and Pat, in case you didn't see it, there is a comment in the chat box from Sabrina. she's got a collaboration opportunity for you, which is wonderful. Thank you, Sabrina, for that. Anybody else have any questions for Jessica? No. Marketing strategies. All right. Thank you. And again, there's a lot of great, yeah, thank you. Thank you again, Jessica, very much for that. There's a lot of great information on the Trello board that you can use, you know, the one-page flyers that are specific to our project. I know some people, you know, mental health first aiders have made their own business cards and consider putting our website on it, or, you know, so folks can go and get the free training, you know, send them right there. Jessica, can you update us on the status of the QR code? Is it live? Is it working? Are we doing that?
Yes, I believe, and Janet, correct me if I'm wrong, our QR code right now takes you to our team page, which then takes you to our host a class page. We're working on getting, I believe, the links integrated, but right now here I think
the one on the Trello board, Jessica, takes you right to that host a class page.
Perfect.
And it's a paid account so that we can track who's clicking it, where they're coming from. So like we plan to get a lot of data on, you know, where are people clicking on this QR code. But we did have a previous QR code campaign last year, and I think over 3,000 people clicked on it. So it's a really effective way to get them to the right section of the website that you want them to go to.
So currently, so Janet, just to clarify then, so the QR code that we have here on the Trello board.
Yeah, that's one of the old ones, but the new one was on, I think it was on a program team Trello board. So we can make sure that we have the right one on there.
Okay, that's all right. So don't use this one yet.
You can delete that if you want, Bridget.
All right, we'll go ahead and delete that one.
Archive that one, but yeah, the new one is created with the paid account.
Okay, so you guys will know then. So if you want to create some marketing materials for, you know, for yourself, you want to throw a business card together and have that QR code to get folks directly to the collaborative. Again, you can do that. Some people like the QR code, some people don't. Otherwise, you can just do ohiomhfa.org too. You can just put the website on there too, which gets them.
And I think some people can take a picture of the QR code and keep it as a picture on their phone. And then you could just whip out your phone and say, here's the QR code. So that's another option I've seen people do too.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so that's some great tips. Thank you, Jessica. All right. So with that being said, I want to kick off. I want to talk about just do some bravos for our group, because I do think that, you know, again, there's a lot of wonderful things going on. And I want to just highlight some of the bravos that we got from you guys from the instructor survey. I do want to just point some of these out and then open it up to you guys to share any bravos that you have from this recent from the last 3 months since we've been together. One of the feedback that we got is, I love this project. I feel very valued as an instructor. Your team is amazing. You're all doing a fantastic job. You've created a group of supportive individuals who are very responsive to emails. This is a rare thing. Thank you for that. We got a few more. We got a lot of love and we appreciate that. I appreciate how much you care about the instructors. The more I get involved in the project, the more I see that. Thank you for the wonderful work that you do to make these trainings possible. Looking forward to teaching more. I feel the team is always here to help and responsive to emails. And again, a few more. Certainly a pleasure to work with a dedicated team. And then I feel supported by everyone on this project. And then again, here's the project team, although we've been updated, but this was actually us at the summit last year, at the zoo last year. We certainly thank all of you for your dedication to the MHFA collaborative, and very grateful to continue on to this third project with all of you. So that being said, does anybody have any bravos from these past 3 months? Any highlights that you'd like to share?
I have one for the instructors. I know the switch from connecting to Trello wasn't necessarily like, it's super easy, but change is never easy. However, everyone has integrated it well and is user friendly. So bravos to you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, Clay's got one.
Hey, I have I think I have my
Yes.
camera on now. All right, good.
But yeah, there I see it.
I just have a bravo for you all, Bridget, you and Janet, and then also Pat, because my employer has expressed interest in hosting a mental health first aid class. And it was like literally you responded to my email within minutes. It seemed like it was the same day, getting the ball rolling, helping me get all the information into the hands of the people that will be responsible for ultimately, the corporate contact stuff for hosting a class here at my company. So it was just really cool to see the overwhelming support that you all provide when instructors reach back. And just want to thank you all so much for all the work that you do to help keep all us stray kittens from wandering off.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you. And Janet keeps this stray kitten from wandering too far too. So thank you. She keeps us all very organized. Thank you for that.
I have a bravo.
Yeah.
To the team. So last week on Wednesday, on my returning home, so I was on the way to the airport in another state. Then I saw a request that Pat had sent out for Central State University, that they had a last minute cancellation and needed instructors. So to call them and then contact them too regarding a stipend. Yeah, I mean, there was nothing, no information. So I looked at my schedule and said, well, I can do this because it was going to be on Saturday. So I called and then I asked about the stipend. It says, we don't have any money. Well, I was going to do it because it was a last minute. I was going to do it. But I went, why are you not funded if you are in Ohio? So I texted Janet's email. So this is a woman you need to talk to. Just let them know exactly what your situation is. And within an hour, it was already funded for 2 instructors to be there from this project. And it was a miracle that we were there Saturday and had an amazing time, a great, with a lot of RAs in that group. So I just wanted to say thank you, Janet, because that truly shows me the care and that you're going to do anything that you can to support not just us instructors, but also organizations that don't have funding. So cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. That's very nice.
And bravo and cheers to Ruth, because I did hear that she did that training last minute with no air conditioning.
And Ella was there too. So
and Ella, so
yeah,
much love to Ella for stepping up for that fun day.
Well, they did have air conditioning,
okay,
but it was sweat was dripping down my neck, my spine, and yeah, I had to take another shower at the end of it. It was incredible, but it was no, the heat was there, but all those students, they stayed with us throughout the whole team, the whole class. So it was really good. So thank you.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. I do see one in the Casey put in here too. She's a bravo for Pat, Janice, and Ruth. She's a new instructor and she's been able to co-facilitate with each of those fantastic instructors, facilitators over the past few months. So absolutely, thank you for that. Oh yeah, Robin, yeah, you've got firsthand experience for the hot temperatures. I did one in a church basement with no air. It was not fun. It was a long day. Anybody else?
This is Ella. I do have one. I just, for working with Ruth this past Saturday, she gave me a lot of great tips and a lot of great feedback. with information. And so I do appreciate that, that I was able to work with her and learn more things. And it was hot. And I learned how to invest in Amazon little personal fans because they help a lot. You just never know where you go. Don't carry a Visa, carry a personal fan.
That's perfect. Hey, that's a good takeaway. That's great. And Tammy Brown is looking for somebody to co-facilitate a youth class with. So fabulous. Thank you. Anybody else? I know Keith was on the hunt for some co-instructors, Keith Klein. So I don't know if you've got any emails from him. Yeah. And Kathy's going to reach out as well. Wonderful. Anybody else?
I have another bravo for an instructor that I just met, Casey. Hey, Casey. We were just together yesterday. She was, it was just brilliant how she connected with the students at NKU. And improv, that's one of the things about us as instructors, that not everything's going to be according to the schedule. So she was able to just jump in, says, you're going to be okay. Or at the end, there's no PowerPoint for that. And then she right away, she figured out, got her sheet of paper with that, and then rolled with it and connected so well with the students and wrapped the whole session. So I just want to say thank you, Casey, for being so flexible and just jumping in, and it was a success, I think.
Thank you, Ruth. It was nice to train with you and meet you. So thank you. It was a good one.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now, for all of you that did your Bravos, if you wouldn't mind, I think we'll be able to get out a few minutes early. You can take those few minutes early, throw it in the Trello board under Bravos so that people can stand a chance of getting the $50 curriculum training at no cost for the professional development. Or if they've already got that, they can get the $50 gift card. So just a little plug for that new program. But thank you guys so much for doing that. For sharing the Bravos and celebrating one another, because we certainly do appreciate that. And we look forward to the nominations coming in for the adult and youth instructor of the year as well, that are peer nominated. So we look forward to seeing those as well. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Martina. It was great getting to train with you as well. That was wonderful to get to do. You did a great job for your first training as well. I mean, just kind of smoothly jumping in there, and with all of the curriculum barriers that come up from national too, that always come up with first classes. So access to this and access to that, you rolled with it and did great. So thank you.
Can I share one more?
Yeah, please.
That kind of brings full circle everything Jessica said and everything that we do.
Yeah.
So I was the one who said that I learned about certified peer specialist in one of the trainings. So I did one of my trainings at a lovely company that I've done 3, and I'm about to do another one for. I won't mention the company, but my co-instructor told me, oh yeah, like you can get free training to be a certified peer mentor. What? Right? So I went to the training, did my training with NAMI, and the other day, and everybody in my class knows what I do because I promoted, hey, anybody wants to know, be certified, contact me. Yay, we can do class. And so the other day, an email came out to all of us on our base camp saying, hey, we're going to do mental health first aid class. So I put a note and I said, well, who's teaching it? And the lady said, well, I am. I said, oh. So I sent her a private message. I said, that's what I do. So we got to talking, and she said, oh, my co-facilitator is Helen. And I said, oh, really? Well, Helen actually is part of the group that I just told you I'm a part of. So we got to talking about it. And so it was kind of everything full circle. When Jessica talks about the marketing, is also bringing our collaborative in to work with other groups because it's through NAMI, and seeing how the marketing of their class into the NAMI, just kind of seeing it all full circle and how we all work with each other and train people and to do everything that we all do. I mean, the
peer mentor I wouldn't have known about if it weren't for an instructor in one of our classes. And then helping them teach the classes that we teach in their organization. It's just great to see all the collaborative go back and forth together.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's a good reminder, Robin. Thank you. You know, I think it's one of the benefits of going to a summit. You know, like we have coming up is the networking opportunities. You know, we're all doing the same thing. We all may work in full-time jobs doing other things, but at the end of the day, our missions are all probably pretty similar in that we're helping to improve the lives of those individuals living with mental illness and those that and their families and loved ones that support them. That's what we do. We're all going about it in different directions, but our mission is all the same. So it's a great opportunity to share those resources that we know are out there. We know that there's not enough to go around. So let's share what we do know and see if we can't continue to, you know, make that difference. And Robin, absolutely, you know, save lives. You know, if we can do more if we collaborate. That's what this is all about, right? And Sabrina showed that. So great example of showing that, Sabrina, too. You know, with, you know, here in the meeting. So thank you for that. And as Rich pointed out, yeah, Mental Health America, which is who we're under the umbrella of, provides the peer supporter certification. So there's all this, there's a lot of crossing of paths for sure. So as well. So yeah, thank you for that. And please continue to add those bravos to the cello board because we want them to keep coming. We very much appreciate those. So any questions that you guys have from today's meeting or just things that have come up, suggestions, anything? This is kind of a chance to ask about anything from certification to curriculum, anywhere in between. Or the scheduling board. Anybody?
I do have a quick question.
Yes.
The open classes, can we also hold those as well? How does that work?
Janet, I'll turn that over to you. That's a good question.
Me or Stacy, do you want to handle that?
Stacy.
I'll let you handle it.
Oh, thanks, Stacy.
Well, I mean, for what we do is we schedule an open class basically every month to capture all of those individuals who aren't really connected to a hosted class that see what we do, whether it's through social media or they hear about it from a friend. And, you know, they're not, like I said, connected with a college hosted class or with another nonprofit. So they themselves aren't going to be able to get connected to one of those classes. So we schedule an open class with the hopes enough people will register to warrant it, which we always have enough. And here in the last 6 months, we've actually had enough to usually offer 2 classes each month. And that's kind of how that's worked for us.
Does that answer your question, Helen? Or are you thinking about something different?
No, I have a follow-up question actually then. So if after doing some marketing in this area, because I'm in Northeast Ohio, then if I were to schedule, like, say, an open class in November or December, for one thing, I know that would be some lead time, but how does that work in terms of people wanting to register for it? What is the process so that we would have an idea whether that particular date and location, you know, would be most likely by Zoom in December?
Yeah. So that sounds to me like you would be hosting a class, and you qualify to host the class if the people that are coming are qualified under the grant, and you can get about 30 people. And if you can do those 2 things, then you would be the host, Helen, and we could create the registration link for you. You'd promote it. We'd have a coordinator work with you to coordinate that class for you. So that's if you have 30 people in mind and they're not really connected to a host organization like Stacy was talking about, we'd be happy to set that class up for you.
Okay.
Yeah, because essentially they don't have to be, Helen, a hosted class doesn't have to be from any one particular organization. It can be a just groups of however those 30 people come together. However you recruit them, is up to you. They can be from one similar organization, or they can be, just like what you're saying is, you want to just do some open marketing, set up a booth someplace, or set up a posting at multiple locations and see who signs up. You could do that, and then the coordinators would kind of talk with you about a deadline, kind of like the cutoff date. Okay, when's registration deadline, to kind of determine this is a go or it's not. But then, like Janet said, then it would be virtual. That one would be virtual, just so you're aware too. So
really, a host is just taking on the responsibility of getting the 30 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that host referral form that Jessica was talking about earlier would be the way to start any of these conversations. So if you're like, I think I can get about 30 people, here's what I want to do, somebody contact me, then one of our coordinators will contact you, and we'd have really go over all your options. Do you want it virtual? What time do you want it? What date are you looking at? And so that meeting would take place after you create that host referral form, because that really starts the whole process. But I love that idea. I never really thought about that, Helen, but that's a great idea.
Well, I was just thinking of some ways to get more people trained and get more exposure, because it's needed. I mean, that's why we're all here. It's needed.
Yeah. No, we could definitely help you with that.
Okay, thanks.
great idea. And Kathy put in the chat box too, just so you guys are aware, if you are referring a youth class, email that, can make that connection with the host directly to Kathy via email at oberlink2@gmail.com, just so you guys are aware if you didn't see that in the chat box.
Or you can, even if you did fill out that host referral form, it comes to me and I'll forward it to Kathy. So if that's easier, whichever way is easiest.
Yeah. And Robin, great suggestion. So that's actually what we're doing right now. We are, well, it's not in the county, but it's from the state. So we do a virtual class, one adult, one youth, once a month. Now there are times that we open it up based on need. If we hit that 30 mark, or what, well, if we make enough people to have two classes, then we can open it up and have two classes. But that seems to work. So thank you, Robin. Any other questions?
I do, about when you submit already, someone that wants to, for a referral, that someone wants to have a training. So once I fill out the form and I already know the dates and they already have the solid numbers, so what happens next? I feel like I don't know if the connection was there, especially if there's time sensitive, issues. So how do I know they're taken care of? That's I think with me, it's just like, I gotta know that that someone from the team is already having a conversation with them.
Yeah, usually when you fill out that form, it comes to my inbox, and then I forward it to the coordinator that's in charge of that particular specified audience. Okay. And then the coordinator reaches out to your host, and we're going to start CCing the instructor in that outreach email so that you know that there has been contact with that host that you referred.
Okay.
And in fact, if you guys have noticed on the host referral form, because of that, we added a couple of questions like, have you talked about specific dates with this host? And if so, what dates you're talking about? Because usually when we get those host referral dates, it was just like, I talked to somebody, or I work here, or I know this person. And then this conversation starts between that coordinator and the host. And then all those things are ironed out. But if you're like Ruth and you already have dates and, you already have had those conversations, then you as the instructor and the referral person share as many of those details with the coordinators, and we're like 2 steps ahead of where we would have been anyway. So there's been a couple of times when we have a host referral form, the coordinator has reached out and we haven't heard back for, weeks. And usually that's not uncommon. Sometimes you have to gently poke people 2 or 3 or 4 times to get them to respond. But I think if we start CCing you guys, whoever made that host referral on that first outreach, at least that we reached out. And like Clay was saying, usually it's that day, if not the next day. So we have a pretty quick turnaround when we, our coordinators are really, really timely, and they'll reach out because it's always better to reach out right after you get that host referral when people are excited about it. And we don't want to wait even, 2 or 3 days. We want to get them when they're excited.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad that you're CCing, because if I don't see any action from my end, from the host, then I quickly start nagging the host. Hey, hello, don't forget, so that's what I like to do.
Yeah. And just because, this, Ruth, because you've referred a ton of people, but if possible, if you say, yes, we decided on a date and it's 10 days away, the coordinators will have a heart attack. So I'm just saying, give the coordinators a few, ideally it's 6 weeks for them to promote the class. Yeah. But just, keep that in mind, because every once in a while we get one of those and we're like, I think we can do it. So.
Michelle's good at that. She makes miracles. I know that.
She does.
Yeah, she does know. So yeah, that's all I needed to know. It's how do we know? How can we, as instructors, get involved in this discussion? Just so we know, and then start helping the host to be serious about it. Yeah. And the marketing is the one that is really I get anxious about. But this two contacts, they already had solid numbers. Yeah. So that's what I was wondering.
Good question.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Well, if no other questions, then everybody have a wonderful day, and thank you guys so much for joining us. And again, we got a couple extra minutes here, so if you have some time and you haven't already nominated somebody for Instructor of the Year, feel free to do that, and or put those bravos in the support board. So everybody be well, take care, and enjoy the rest of your summer.